Mic check, mic check.
Hey, where's Mark? Oh, he's flying in from Austin.
Mark. Hey, Mark. Actually, we kind of like you better like that. You
look good.
You look handsome.
Mm-hmm. Did you lose some weight?
Mark, you're so quiet today. I'm here.
Uh-oh.
I'm here.
Hi, guys.
I'm here.
Just if you get your hands on it, just buy it. Just buy it. I mean,
You want it? Buy it. Buy it
I
now.
mean, like the market's not going to any lower. If it's $4 million, it's going to be $5 million tomorrow.
You would have bought Cambrian if it was $500,000, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where's the recession? It's here.
Doomsday is here. It's here.
But buy
the
houses
way-
in Austin.
By the way,
But there's still tons of inventory in Austin, so if you're interested, buy them all. I go down there. They want to pay $100,000 over. I pay $200,000 over.
dude, this is like what it's like to go to lunch with Mark. Hello? Yes, just come. Oh, hey.
Oh, welcome.
Hey,
Back
welcome.
from Austin,
Nice to have
Texas.
you.
Aaron was just doing his best MVK impersonation.
Yeah, we were just talking about how attractive you look before you sit in the chair.
Wow, all right, fat boy.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of All Things Real Estate with your host, Aaron Derbacher.
no headphones today.
And my three minions. Mark, Minion 1. My assistant, Dave.
Mark.
David.
Dude.
And my fearless leader, Ben Frieden. Ben, it's nice to work for you.
Hey, thank you, Aaron. Thanks for being here.
What is the word, boys?
Where are we at on the market? I mean, let's start off with
Great
that.
question. So kind of interesting. As of this week, 778 single-family homes for sale and 360 condos and townhomes for a total of 1,238 total properties for sale.
So that hasn't changed too much. I mean, a little bit of an uptick.
Well, that's
but
what we predicted. That was going to be the amount in June.
This is interesting, though. If you take a look at total pendings, we have 1,700 pending properties, which means we still have less than a month's worth of inventory.
Right. Yeah, it's funny when we have those conversations, Mark, is it a shift? You know, we have a house that we didn't have as many offers on it. Listen, the numbers are still moving. I mean, it's still a very active market. Sellers out. Yeah, absolutely.
But, I mean, we are starting to see a shift.
And I think the appraisers are shifting. They're now becoming, I think, more on the safe side of appraising properties because I don't think they know.
Safe being more conservative?
Because they don't know what the top is.
So that we're having problems with appraisals, not like they're conceding to the
having
number.
problems with appraisals.
Sure.
I don't think they know where the top is, and I think they're, like you said, staying on the safer side.
So for those people that may be newer or have not bought or sold a house, an appraisal is the way that is the, I call it the weak link in real estate, right? So
I thought you were the weak link in real estate. No,
Right.
just the weak link on the VKGRE team.
Wow. Oh, it's brutal today. He's going to get the lead.
Hey.
Anyways,
Your
before
point on the appraisal.
so appraisals could be the weak link in real estate. There's the bank, there's the buyer, there's the seller, there's the appraiser.
I have said appraisals are the biggest scam in real estate. And here's the reason why. Because when you get into contract on a property, what's the very first thing that an appraiser gets?
Purchase
The
contract.
purchase contract that tells them the value, and that appraiser knows that if they don't come into that value, they're going to have a couple pissed off people, right?
Right.
So, I think the most honest approach to valuation is what the buyer's going to pay for it. That's where the value comes from.
Yeah.
The appraiser's just protecting the lender's position, right?
Yeah.
That lender just wants to make sure somebody who's certified has looked at it and said, okay, here's where the numbers at.
Protecting the bank's assets.
Yes.
Right.
So
There we go.
to make an example, if it was $1 million that the buyer paid the seller for the house, they put down 20%, so $200,000. The bank is fully ready to give you an $800,000 loan. The appraiser goes out, values the property at $950,000. Well, oops! All of a sudden, the buyer is going to have to bring an additional $50,000 on top of the $200,000 to the table. That's how it works. So that's why, as real estate agents, it's super important that we go through all the comparable sales with you, educate you, and hey, sometimes we know the appraisal is going to come short, just like in happening in Sunnyvale, just like on a property that started with an M, ended in an I in Blossom Valley, right? That appraisal came in short. We all damn well knew, hey, this is not going to price per square foot is something that they look at. Views, condition,
Right.
how many other offers, those sorts of things. So
Thus the reason why a great agent, by the way, you got 4 of them sitting here, is somebody you need on your side, because you got to make sure those offers coming in with those no appraisal contingency that are $500,000 over price. Hey, it looks very attractive, but does that buyer and the agent's buyer, or the buyer's agent, excuse me, know really what they're getting into?
Right.
Because if it doesn't appraise and you have no appraisal contingency, your earnest money is at risk.
And
Right.
we get questions all the time by buyers as well when they ask, what is a stronger offer? If we put down 50% or if we come in at 15%, and I think in that, like you said, in the single family home market right now and how they're appraising and what people are paying for the properties, sellers look at people who come in with a higher down payment, a safer bet, because if it doesn't appraise, they now have the money to make
and
up
thus
for it.
again, how many of us have either lost contracts because it was a 10% down compared to a 50% down,
I know somebody recently.
or maybe 70%
Last
down.
week.
And the way you're writing them too, right? I mean, that is in today's world. It's unfortunate. Anywhere else in America, well, I mean, there are some hot areas out there too,
Like
but
Austin,
let's-
Texas.
No, not even there. You better have no contingencies, which I got some stuff to talk about there. Anyways, but in a traditional market. I mean,
that's
the
a good-
percentage is down as long as you're pre-approved. That nobody cares, and that's the problem we have when we have VA or we have teachers buying. Where they're individuals.
Because if it doesn't appraise, for people wondering what the hell we're talking
you're
about,
screwed.
If it doesn't appraise, the seller would have to either let the buyers back out of contract or go down to the appraisal purchase price.
It's renegotiating time.
Right.
So
So everything in the Bay Area is as is. So the reason that listing agents care and sellers care is if you're showing 30% for proof of funds, but you're putting 20% down, that tells us, hey, if we do have an appraisal issue, those buyers are able to make it up.
And that's the reason why also we want to verify those funds, right? When they come in, do they have the funds, and do they have additional assets where if they do have to cover $100,000 or $200,000 spread, that they're going to be able to do so.
And I think, last week when we talked about how we got that property in the contract, that's another great example of why my buyer was able to do it, is because he had enough money to where that, seller thought, wow, if this doesn't appraise, how is that other person with only 5% going to be?
And it didn't appraise.
And it didn't appraise. It didn't appraise by $13,000.
So let me ask you guys this question. What is, let's say at a $2 million valuation, what is the valuation difference between an all cash, no appraisal contingency type deal or a 20% down scenario that has an appraisal contingency?
That has.
That has an appraisal
So
contingency.
one has no appraisal contingency.
And the other one does. Yeah.
And the question is,
What's the valuation difference in that situation?
How do you look at it from a seller standpoint?
Yeah. So okay, you got 2 offers side by side.
you
One
know
at
that
$2 million.
once you take the offer, it's pretty much done deal. You're
Here's the question.
I see.
David knows
There's
what I'm
no
asking.
appraisal
in fact,
on an
honestly,
all
you know what?
cash.
I was just going to ask David this question but I figured you guys
Thank you.
being on
Thank
our
you.
team would
There is
understand.
no appraisal on all cash.
Right. So my question is, what's the value, David? What's the valuation difference between an all cash, no appraisal contingency, compared to a lender with a 20% down with an appraisal contingency?
Well, the caveat is, what's the neighborhood going for? So if the house is going for $2 million and the houses are going for $2 million and I'm the seller, I'm like, yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay.
Right. But if
you
it's
feel confident about the appraisal happening,
right, but if it's in a market where all the homes
$1.8 million bucks,
exactly,
Right.
then you know what? Then I'm probably going to say, hey, I'll take 20, 50K off
Right. I was
on
gonna
that
say 50.
Yeah, on that cash offer versus that one with the appraisal
Right.
contingency.
That's the whole thing when we advise the buyers and the sellers. Listen, don't always just focus on the top number. You got to look at those terms and where are those hooks in there.
I want to know contingency.
I want to change the
We're
subject. I
rolling
know
dice.
David's got some stuff too.
Yeah.
David, you go first.
Okay, so to Mark's point, just really quickly about picking the best offer, not necessarily the highest. I'm in a situation right now where there was an offer. So there's a house listed just under $2 million. I'm not the seller's agent. The seller received 7 offers. They accepted an offer at $235,000. That buyer backed out. Now it is always harder to sell the house the second time. So that was a week ago. Fast forward to today. I took my buyers in. We made an offer at $215,000, which is $200,000 higher than the offer they accepted a week and a half ago. And it
Higher or lower?
I'm sorry, lower.
Lower.
So we came in $200,000 lower than the offer that they accepted a week and a half ago, and it looks like they're going to accept our offer.
Yeah.
But the reason that it's so hard for the sellers now is because they lose all momentum, and what drives these prices up is the multiple offers.
David, in that case, what was that property listed at?
2.
1999.
Wow. So The seller, I'm not sure what their expectations were, right? But they still got a very nice valuation for that. And I think were these old time sellers where they've been there for a while?
Yeah, but they really wanted to match that original offer.
Was it
at 235.
non-contingent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's crazy, we talked about a shift last week to touch on this, is that I've seen this happen the last year or so. Something happens, buyers pull out, they risk that 3% deposit that you're putting in. And what happens is they end up selling for more than they were actually in contract for because the market's trending upwards so quick. Well, now you're telling us, oh, wow, $200,000 difference just 1 week later.
Yeah. Which is when you can start to argue to hold on to that deposit
Yeah,
because they have actual
damages.
losses.
Because there's damages.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
actually damages.
Okay, but enough about that.
So you're going to get it?
Of course I'm going to
But what's it going to appraise for?
It's 2.2 to 2.3 all day long.
But going back to appraisals, the reason that
Oh, boy.
buyers are like, why
Haven't we
We
exhausted?
need a dead horse right here so we can just beat it.
And if you're a buyer listening in,
the reason
a lender will only
as
praise
a buyer
of the value.
that your house comes in at value every time for your purchase contract, most of the time, is because they see the purchase contract.
Yes.
And if they go over, and somebody questions them, they have to explain why, right?
Yep.
And if they go under, they have
Yeah.
to explain why.
Yeah.
That is all
I
with
think we
your
already
appraisals.
addressed that.
Yeah.
But
All right.
great.
All right.
There you go. Where's that dead horse?
Hey, we don't hit the table.
All right, so I'm going to throw something out there.
It was
and
the
I'll try to articulate my question to where you can understand it. So when
of
in this crazy market, right, where you're contacting a seller about selling their home, what's the number one concern that a seller is going to have when they're selling their home right now?
How to
Other than
protect their
price.
liability.
Other than price.
Where am I going?
There you go. Great. So here's the question.
Texas.
This is really interesting. So I've got where California's moving to? Top 10, right? I'll go through the top number 10.
Number one, is it Idaho?
No, number 10 is Utah, North Carolina. This is in reverse order for those of you who aren't following. New York, Florida, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, Nevada. Number 2 is Arizona. Number 1, Texas.
Probably Austin.
The one that nobody's moving to, Delaware. For some reason, nobody's going to Delaware. And then this is interesting. Here are the top states with the largest exodus going on right now. Again, in reverse order. Nebraska, Ohio, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Michigan. California's number 5 on that list. Connecticut, New York, Illinois. Number 1 that people are moving out of is New Jersey.
I don't blame him. Have you been in New Jersey?
I know, right? And then as a side note, tax-free states, because everybody's asking us where are those tax-free states. And we have to understand tax-free states doesn't mean that if you own an asset in a tax-free state and you live in California, you're not tax-free, because California is going to take that income no matter what.
When you say tax-free, is it based only on income tax?
State income tax. So no state income tax. So in California, if you're making over a couple $100,000, you're going to be at 13.7%.
Good thing you're making under that mark.
I know, it's terrible. So tax-free states: Alaska, Tennessee, Wyoming, New Hampshire, Florida, South Dakota, Nevada, Washington, and of course Texas.
So
there you go.
That makes a huge difference for these MLB, NFL players.
Definitely. And that's a great segue into what I wanted to talk about. One of the things I want to talk about today, which is 1031 exchanges. Because as you know, 1031 exchange is a way to sell investment property without having to pay tax on the gain as you transfer from one property to another. However, at the end of March, President Biden released his fiscal year 2023 budget, and they are again proposing to cap that at $500,000 per person or $1 million for a couple once a year. So what does that mean? They are projecting that if this passes, one, inventory is going to come to a halt because nobody's going to sell. The people that are selling, they are anticipating $6 billion in taxes that these investors are going to have to pay annually.
You know how long the 1031 tool has been around?
Long time.
Since 1920. I mean, this thing's been around
100
for
years.
100 years.
Yeah.
This is going to decimate the investment market without a doubt. We got a client right now. We're selling their shopping center, $4.6 million, and the benefit is they can 1031 that outside of state. This would kill them. They paid $1 million for that shopping center.
Yeah, so we're going to be watching it very closely because it will come into effect January 1 of 2023.
That's incredible. Biden
Well,
is
but
just
now it
doing
hasn't been
great.
approved. He's just proposed
If it passes,
because
it goes
he proposed
into
it
effect.
last year as well, and it got shut down.
So as an agent, what do you tell your sellers then if they have
sell now? Sell now when you know it is. I'm sorry, but that's the
Right.
reality of it. Take advantage of it. The unified credit. They're talking about the unified credit right now. It's $11 million per person, 11 and a half. So a couple can transfer $23.5 million tax free. So there's no estate taxes taken out of it, right? However, what they're talking about is either getting away with it completely, doing away with it completely, or dropping it down to $1 million. Yeah. So that's why we had this rush to everybody that had assets last year that were getting their properties appraised, transitioning that to their kids now, doing a lot of estate planning now, because something like that happens, it decimates you. 50% on estate taxes. So you've worked your entire life, built up some great assets here in California. We got a lot of people that have bought the building we're sitting in right now. The family paid $2 million for this back in 2003. It is now worth about $14 million. They didn't expect for it to go that high, but that's a perfect example. And now, so they earned it, they did it, and now that if they were to sell it, they would lose
$6 million in taxes
easily. Yeah.
Hello,
It's absolutely crazy.
Mr. Trump. How do you feel about the Biden proposal?
Let's not polarize people now.
Yeah. Okay.
He's just very, very concerned that it's going to affect his investments.
Is he going to run again?
Well, he's also the one that got rid of SALT, right? The state and local tax.
One thing that he did eliminate that actually surprised me a while back was being able to write off your interest, right?
That's what I just said, the SALT. So,
SALT, sorry.
Well, and also
SALT stands for?
State and local taxes.
Because you can't write off past 500,000.
So our wonderful governor now has created Pete.
He is great.
Which is allows you to an S corp to pay your taxes. You pay it for your state taxes, and you actually get a larger credit against your federal taxes. California PEET. Don't ask me what it stands for.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure the damn thing out. But I went ahead and paid it out of my S corp to do that. So that way you can take a larger percentage off of your federal taxes that you could not do now because of that limitation.
But consult your CPA or tax
100%.
professional.
We don't
if
want
you
to be
have any
dangerous.
questions.
That's about it.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for Gavin Newsom. That's a phenomenal job as well.
A Newsom Trump fan.
Well,
Mom, I didn't say any of that. He called me and
our podcast is not called All Things Politics. It's All Things Real Estate.
Absolutely.
And so the one other topic I want to talk about, which we had touched on beginning of the year and last year, was SB 9.
Yes.
Right? SB 9, lot split, duplexes, helps out housing. Got an interesting article here that says, okay, we're 3 months into this now. Not a single person in the Greater Bay Area, not just Santa Clara County, in the Greater Bay Area has completed a permit for a lot split under SB 9.
Oh my God!
Not one.
Because they're making it
how many of them are? I got to believe that there's a lot of them that are in process.
No.
Palo
Alto has one application, which was recently withdrawn. Cupertino has received numerous inquiries but not received a formal application. And in San Jose, the Bay Area's largest city, where 95% of lots are designated for single family, planners have not heard a single peep from homeowners about splitting parcels. Same thing in Fremont. Concord, 2 potential applicants have made inquiries, but no formal applications.
So, David, explain that part of SB 9 to us. So, I've got a 6,000 square foot lot. I think you can go down to 1,250 square feet on a lot. Is that correct?
Footprint. Yeah, it's pretty small.
So, does that mean if I have a flat 6,000 square feet, I can actually separate that in 4?
From what I understand, it's only 2.
Okay.
So you can do a duplex on both sides.
All right.
I think
you can add a third if you agree to live in it.
Correct. You have to live in one of the units. Yeah.
Okay.
I think part of it is cost, right?
Well,
construction cost.
Yeah.
Planning
permits.
Permits.
Worth it in some of these neighborhoods?
Well,
who was going to split a lot in a Los Gatos neighborhood and start adding
an investor would take a look at it, but then the other key to it is the ADU portion of this, right? Because it also allows you to basically drop an ADU on any lot, basically, right?
Yeah.
As long as you.
And they are saying that those is starting to get more traction. They call them granny units, ADU units. But yeah, now it's only been 90 days, right? So people are still trying to see how the cities and towns are going to incorporate the law or interpret the law. If it's going to stick, how long? Because it does have an expiration date on it right now. So I think we'll get some traction. But it was interesting that not a single formal application has been approved.
Well, I think when you look at because the argument of that before is when you look at areas like Almaden Valley. Or like Nice Gate, because they said HOAs couldn't even stop it, right? So you take something like Rencanada Hills around the corner from us. If somebody has a 10,000 square foot lot, which some of those single families homes do, the HOA could not stop them adding additional units to that parcel. But I think that's what everybody's concern was. Oh my gosh, we have these beautiful family neighborhoods. Now we're going to have multi-residential all over. It's going to change. But then you think about the people that own there and live there. we have a client that's dropping ADU units on these lots that they're picking up for investment properties, and it's a whole different feel. I mean, you've got a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath duplex on both sides, and now you're converting the garage, you're converting the backyard.
Yeah.
I think it changes the rent values that you can get for these properties, and it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
We had a house on North 21st Street.
That was a perfect house,
Yeah,
a corner house.
Whatever happened? Did they ever think about doing anything or split?
I
know
think
when
that's why
they
it's
bought
sold.
Didn't
was-
you represent the buyer?
Yeah, and they said they had an idea to do a townhouse. But in San Jose, if there's not one person who submitted it,
Maybe you should reach out to them.
Yeah, might be a good time to reconnect with your past client.
Guys, didn't my client tell you guys that maybe he was gonna do a lot split?
So, and speaking of that, we do have a new property that'll be coming on next week. It's on Ford. There's actually 3 lots there that currently have 2 single-family homes on them. I think combined is going to be about 11,000 square feet. So that could be a great candidate if somebody wanted to go this
Downtown
way.
San
You can
Jose
be
is a
the
much
first
more open
applicant.
spot, so,
Yeah.
But again, there's no applicants on that. That's
who wants
interesting.
to be the first?
I don't, but I have a fun fact or question for you guys.
I don't.
In Santa Clara County, how many single-family parcels are there?
In Santa Clara County.
Give us a hint.
No, I just want you to. I want you to guess.
Can we get a plus minus?
Well, let's see. You got 2.2 million people. I'm going to guess
Single-family parcel, so not condo townhome, not multifamily, just
I'm gonna
single-family.
go with
95%.
set the 428,000.
I was going to say 450,000. I say
Okay.
550.
Okay.
428.
Ben?
550,000.
I would say around 400. I'm going to say less.
331,000.
Single
In
family.
Santa Clara County for 2.2 million people.
Yeah. So again, why does our real estate market continue to go up? Because we're not building any more single-family parcels.
The shortage of
Can you
land.
give the parcel number to the people stat one more time? How many parcels?
Let's
to how
start
many
from the
people?
top so we can make a nice, clean clip.
Yeah.
Okay.
David, how many parcels are in Santa Clara County?
Compared
How
to
many
people.
single-family parcels are in the 15 cities that make up Santa Clara County? 331,000 for a population of approximately 2.2 million.
Wow.
I'm no economic genius, but it sounds
know.
like we have a problem. Dave, that's your second mean job today. That's your second. Between Fat Boy and that? No. I don't know about that.
It was PHAT.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, Ben, what do you got, man?
Well, we're out touring a lot. Marcus,
They don't have anything to show them, but they're just touring.
Yeah, we're out here.
They're
touring. I had
cruising.
Another person on Monday. I walked in. I think it was you or might have been you. The agent called back again, said no one. And this, it was you. $775,000 condo, Santa Teresa Schools. No, completely updated.
Yeah.
No one submitted an offer.
Yeah.
They called me, asked if our clients are still interested, dropped the price down another $25K, gave us incentives of what else they'll provide for us with the property.
Nice.
Please bring your buyer back in to look.
What'd your buyer say?
No. They don't like it. But the point is, we are, I think, seeing more and more of, I think, in the smaller sectors, condos and townhomes is starting to...
We talked about this last time. Rates are going up. We are going to see a slight change with that, right? And I don't know. I do believe that we are going to continue to see a slight shift in different markets, most of the outlying markets. But when you look at low status, these high-end areas, those buyers still have the money and the buying power to do what they need to do.
It is not going to crash.
No.
I mean, just a 5 to 10% correction is good.
I was just talking to another team here in the office, and they had listed a very nice property here in town, no offers on it at all, but a week later they got one offer, and they sold it for what they expected to sell it for.
Do you think because of this correction, or when the correction comes, are selling agents are they going to correct the way they price properties?
Of course. It's strategic. You have to be strategic with it. Right now, we want to create the fury. We want to create that perceived valuation to where people are going to flock to that property and drive
there's
it up.
less bullshit, less guessing,
Yeah.
less games, right? If you have a property you want $2 million, you price it pretty close to $2 million.
Correct.
Right? Sometimes it takes 2 weeks, but just because it's been on the market for 14 days doesn't mean that they're going to take a $200,000 hit.
With all that being said, I'll tell you my entire career over 28 years, I've always priced a property reasonably. I will never generally overprice it because that's not good for anybody. You just,
But other agents don't do that, and buyers are now locked in
agree.
in their whole thought process when they see.
I will guarantee you, when and if this
amount.
market shifts in the next 6 to 12 months, you're going to have agents pricing it where it is today, expecting the same thing as today. Because listen, the average agent in our area sells 5 homes a year. That's what the average agent. There's 13,000 agents in Silicon Valley, and there's only about 100 of them that sell over 30 homes.
That's actually another great stat. So there's about 13,000 agents in our valley.
Yep.
There's only about 1,000 transactions that close a month.
Right.
If you go back the last 10 years, it goes from 800 to 1,200 a month. So just say average 1,000 a month.
Right.
There's 2 commission sides, so it's 2,000. So there's 2,000 paychecks each month for 13,000 agents.
That's great. I love that for us.
That's good for us. Listen, we did 105, so we did 10% of those last year.
Yeah.
Our team, the 4 of us did
exactly.
10% of that market last year. Good job, everybody. So on that note, it's not always about work, it's about play. Mm-hmm. So May 13th, to all of our listeners and viewers, we have our client appreciation party. There we go. We got that. Over at Long Rinconada Country Club. For all of our listeners, keep an eye out for the invite that'll be coming out for everybody. You guys,
and if you didn't get an invite, then you're either not a past client.
Yeah, just drop Mark's name at the door.
Pretty much.
Bar.
There you go. Yep. It is an open bar. We're gonna have some fun times. It'll be great. May 13th at Long Rinconada Country Club.
I have one thing. Of course, people ask questions after we post these.
But you know what? You just brought up a good point that I just thought about, because this goes out to a much wider audience that are. So, yes, if you don't have an invite, ring us. Yeah, we'll get you one.
Don't just show up at La Rinconada on May 13th at 6:30 because Mark said so.
All right. The age-old question. I am the consumer. I'm the buyer. I'm looking to buy a house. I am scouring Zillow, Redfin, Trulia. I see, I can see the house at 4 p.m. tomorrow. What happens when you click that button? Can you explain it pretty well? Because people are like, I'm just working with the listing agent. He's just going to show up there. No, not true.
Yeah, I'm going to let Ben take this because I feel like he doesn't get enough talk time in our podcast. So let's see how concise.
Guys, be prepared to skip
a bunch
3
of words.
minutes.
Here comes a bunch of words. No, you're a buyer. You're looking for a house. You click Zillow. It comes to us. Why does it come to us? Because we're premier buyer agents. We're out there dogging people in our market. When you're working,
go ahead, finish it up, dude.
Go ahead, man. You're right on the nose, bud. Right on the nose. And then I will translate for Ben.
There you go.
Please correct me where I'm wrong. But you click the.
So we're out there dogging.
No, they click the. You want to see a home? It comes to us, and we take them out. You're clicking on a marketing ad brought to you by Zillow that other agents are paying for to be on, or they're partnering with Zillow to be a part of. You're not, if you want to call the listing agent, working the listing agent, call the listing agent on yourself. Don't click Zillow and think you're going to get that listing agent. I'm serious. I hate that. I hate it when the buyer calls.
At this point, we need them to click
You know what? Click the button. I want to tell you what your agent's doing wrong and what we're going to do better.
We got to rephrase the question.
So from the top, if you're a consumer looking to buy a home and you'd like to tour the home and you click on Zillow, what is actually happening?
Right. So to your point, you are not contacting the listing agent. And I think that's where consumers get confused, or they are, I will say, miseducated, not uneducated, because it can be a little tricky.
Right.
They think they're reaching out to the listing agent, and they're like, hey, I just want to see this home 4 o'clock on a Friday. They may already have an agent. We get that a lot, right? We get, I have an agent, but, he's busy or out of town or whatever.
So can I stop you for one
Please.
second? If you are already working with an agent, it is your agent's job.
Yes.
And don't feel like you're bothering your agent. Hey, this home caught my eye. I'd like to see it. Call them. Don't click the button. The button goes to people like us who have been pre-screened by Zillow. We passed these tests.
Well, and I think the bigger problem with that is our industry as a whole, other than our team, aren't the most honest individuals out there. Because when you click that button, very rarely is that agent going to offer up the fact that they have no connection with that property at all. They're not the listing agent or anything. They're going to continue, as Zillow has allowed it to happen, to have them perceived as the listing agent until you ask.
Correct. And, we're not here to steal business. I do love when they click through, though, because I get a chance to talk to them.
100%.
It allows you to educate them.
Well, and I think our whole part of that for our listeners, we are at the elevated premier status within Zillow as Zillow Flex. That means we don't pay for our leads.
Right.
We have a partner agreement with Zillow based off of our past history and experience that they have recognized that we pass on to our clients.
Mm-hmm. No,
definitely. It seems like buyers sometimes get a little offensive and hurt though when we tell them why.
Yeah, because they just had the wool pulled over their eyes.
Well, again, it goes back to just not being educated on the process, right?
But if there's something that catches your eye and you want to see it and you're
call
not working
your
with
agent.
something, just call us
or call us.
Yeah, or call us.
Because we're their
408.
Yeah, VKGRE.com. And a good agent should have educated their client up front.
Yeah, absolutely.
People were not taught how to buy or sell homes in school. Like, the only people that can teach you are people in the industry. So no question's a stupid question, and we're
not
happy
gonna
to
perform your own
explain
surgery,
it. We don't expect you to know what appraisals mean and contingencies, and at the end of the day, we sell homes to 10 million, 20 million. We sell mobile homes. Well,
You look at me and so mobile
Ben
home.
and I do.
I've sold one mobile home in my entire career, and I'll never do it again.
I've sold the mobile home park.
But sometimes
there you go. Now we're talking.
I think people see these videos and think, oh, they only sell really nice houses, and they don't want to reach out, right? So
we sell ugly houses too.
Appeal to the masses.
All things real estate.
Right.
On that note.
All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll
Tune in
edit
next
about
time.
30 minutes of this out.
And if you guys ever have any questions, drop them in the comments. We'd love to address them, or something catches your eye, let us know, and we will discuss it next week.
All right.
Take care.
Good stuff, guys.
We love you.
Bye.